Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next, the approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Bushinsky, seconded by Mrs. Pothorsky to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Bushinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0. Approval of claims, I'll make a motion we approve the claims.
I'll second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mrs. Pothorsky to approve the claims. Any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Bushinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0. Next, utilities. You're on.
Okay, I'll make it quick, I promise. Small tower demolition's still been postponed until spring. We do have a sanitary survey for the water system. Item's going to be here tomorrow to do their full inspection. One of the things that I think will be required is we'll have to start implementing a backhoe preventer inspection requirements to have them tested in that. That's something that I think Doug would probably have to look into and see about, make sure the ordinance follows items, recommendations. I sent Lori a copy of the model ordinance, but it's something that's going to have to be done. They marked it on the last one, and we kind of looked at it, and just from the other towns we're working at, they're pushing that pretty hard. So the Surfair project has been postponed until March. Unfortunately, I wish they would have told us that before. Adam spent 4 days out there marking locates for everything, but it looks like it's postponed there. One of the things too, we had a water main break on Highway 6. Bowen did assist us with the repair. One thing that should be aware of is the pitting of the pipe was really bad. Typically that's caused by what they call hot soils. Certain soils can be much more corrosive for iron pipe. That's ductile iron pipe. It's only 20 years old. Typically you probably see 100 years out of that type of pipe. But it is very, very pitted in that area. I think what we'll do in the summer is we'll get a company to come out, we'll do some hydro excavation, look at some places throughout the whole loop, Colton Road and Highway 6, but that section of pipe, we're going to be prone to have a lot of problems. I mean, it may need to have big sections of it replaced. It's not bad. So, we did receive quotes for the pump and motor work at the water plant. One well hasn't been done since it was installed, same with the high service pump. It was pretty expensive. We're going to probably quote it out with a couple other companies and besides just Peerless Midwest. The wastewater end of things, the 2 lift stations, we're really going to need to look into getting that taken care of. We need to get the flow meters replaced and one installed at the Nash Bench. He's actually accurate. I think the town's losing revenue because of the inaccuracy of the meters, so the meter's not working. As far as the DOC, the wastewater treatment plant renovation project, the lift station is out at the correctional centers. Got all the major structures are done. They still need to build the building and install pumps and valves and piping and that. They have finished the force main into town and along Main Street. It was quite the project. They clipped several water lines. We had a water main break because of it. But we spent a lot of time with that. They should be winding down that. LGS should be out of there this week, as far as I know. They're heading into where they're going to start more construction out at the treatment plant. There's quite a bit. There's a whole lot to do. They've got the solids handling building partially done, so we'll really start seeing a lot of activity out there. And the final thing is, as far as the solids, because the solids handling building's been out of service, we've been storing the liquid sludge. We're going to have some of that hauled off. I'm estimating the first will be probably around $18,000 to get some of it hauled off. And it's all gonna be dependent when they can get the new sludge press installed. The sooner they get that installed, the quicker it is we can start pressing sludge and saving a lot of money hauling cave sludge instead of liquid. So that's all I've got.
Okay. Any questions or anything? Okay, thanks, Nathan. We have Resolution 2022-2. It's for uncollectible utility accounts. Be it resolved, the town of Westville deems the following utility accounts uncollectible. Account 101-605 for $181.65, and account 219-9001 for $108.83. These are both water accounts. I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022 to declare these two accounts uncollectible.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, second by Mr. Mashinsky to adopt Resolution 2022-2. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Mashinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0. Streets?
We've submitted our streets for this coming season to the state for the community crossing grant money. Sorry. And we'll be waiting on the state to go any further.
Okay.
And I'd like to thank Bubba and the guys for snowstorm removal. They did a good job, and we used a little salt. That's all I got.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, the streets do look good. Anything on parks?
I got nothing.
Okay. Jamie, do you want to do your park? Do you want to do this under parks?
Whatever you like.
Go ahead.
Beautiful. Of course, James Bell is representing the Westville Memorial Foundation. Just coming once again for our annual request to be able to use the park Memorial Day weekend, starting Friday, ending through Monday, using it for Saturday and Sunday for the tournament, and weather day on Monday if need be. First off, I want to thank you guys once again for another great year, allowing us to continue and helping us grow and build parks, and hope you guys are happy with what we're doing, and we're definitely happy having you guys involved in our team. Look forward to having you guys come out. This year we're going to do something a little different for the tournament. We're going to try adopting a full co-ed tournament versus just a men's tournament. I guess it's just the way of the NSA and the way of the softball world's going in that direction, and we're hoping to bring in more families and whatnot with it being co-ed. So hopefully we'll bring more for the town, more fun, more excitement, more family, more kids. You know the deal. BMF and Westville hand in hand.
Okay, thanks. I'll make a motion that we allow the Birchfield Foundation to use Prairie Meadow Park Memorial Day from Friday until Monday at no cost.
Second that.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mrs. Pothorsky. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Mashinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Police, announcement I have is Marshall Heineck is a proud dad. Mom and baby are doing fine. I'm not sure about him. They had an issue with a water pump on one of the Explorers. They're waiting for parts. That's about all we have. Well, while we're talking police, you notice Regina Riddell isn't here, who's been the police liaison for, 16 years or whatever. She's resigned from the council due to an illness, not her illness, but to help a significant other of hers. So want to thank her, although she's not here, but for everything she did. I considered a good friend on the council and enjoyed her sense of humor. So I think they're working on, the Republicans are working on filling the spot. So that's why we got a 3-man crew here tonight. So I don't have anything on police. Does anybody have anything on police? Okay. Finance, we have to cancel outstanding warrants. What this is where refund deposit checks have been made and they have never been cashed from 2019. So I will make a motion that we close the warrants. Is that what it is, Lori?
Clear the checks and put them back in operating.
Okay. that we cancel the checks and put them back in operating. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Albert, seconded by Mrs. Thorsky to cancel the checks and put them back into the funds. Any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0. We've got some gentlemen here tonight discussing the public safety local income tax. So whoever wants to, or you can all speak, I don't care.
I guess I drew a short straw.
Okay.
I'll give you our presentation. I'm Paul Breton, I'm the police chief for the Fort Police Department. Due to financial problems, we had to come up with a way to try to fund public safety without getting into the property owner, like it always seems to happen, the property taxes. This is, these numbers are from 2020, correct, Andy? 2020. So they're a little bit inflated now. The state, go to page 1 there, the property tax relief set by the state is now, 2020 was $28.1 million given back to the taxpayers. And you see how this breaks down on the property tax relief. It's over 30 as of 2021. As everybody knows, LaPorte County has a local income tax 0.95% right now. And you look at our surrounding counties, and the one quarter, of course, is low. But we were talking about what we proposed to the county council, and the county council, the reason we're here, they wanted us to come before every town board, city board, and have you draft a resolution that we have and give your blessing on this. What we were looking to do is 0.50%, so a 0.5%. This would go only for public safety. That's your fire, probation officers, police, the jails, 911 dispatchers, anybody that works in public safety. And you see our surrounding counties. St. Joe's at 1.75%. We have personally in our department lost 6 officers to St. Joe County. We've lost 3 to Porter County in the last 3 years. 71 out of 92 counties in Indiana have a lit tax. You see where our average is. We're on the lower end. LaPorte County is on the much lower end. Pulaski is higher than us. It all comes down to what people don't understand about this, and everybody, you know, it's a tax. You call it a tax, it is a tax. But it's an income tax. It takes our calls for service and everything we do in the fields we work, it takes it off the property owner and puts it more evenly across the board. So a person, an example on there, if you're making $20,000 a year, it's $100 annually or $8.33 a month. That's what would come out of their checks. Go a little higher up, between $80,000 to $100,000, it's $400 or $500 a year. Everybody we talk to in that tax bracket is all for this. They want their police, fire, EMS. EMS is facing huge shortages. I'm sure everybody in here has seen that, and they've heard it. They're going elsewhere as well. And the nice thing about if it's an income tax, as wages go up, that goes up as well. Then on your final page here, your allocations. We were in Wanata last week, we were in Kaiser Heights last night, and the way this is, all the money goes into a big pot in the county. And it comes back to the towns, cities and towns as a levy, as a property tax levy. That's the only thing that ties back to the property tax, is where your levies are at. So you see Westville, Civil City would be at $73,342. And that was on the figures when we made this, when Baker Tilly made this up. That would come directly to the city. And that can go, I don't know how your fire department works, if that's township and city.
Yes.
it'll go to your police department. And they'll also, even though that only goes for public safety, you can also use any savings to go into your other, that you already put into your police department. If you have excess there, it just shows that everything that this lit brings in would have to go to public safety. And I'm sure, you know, I've talked to Nathan as well, and, you know, this job's getting harder and harder to hire people. Nobody really wants to do this anymore when we have surrounding agencies that offer so much more. And it's just not the wages, that their equipment is so high-tech anymore and so expensive. I used the example last time, we've had body cameras 2 years, they're outdated. We're looking to replace them, $195,000. And then you've got the annual upkeep. And that's something you have to have anymore. So, you know, everybody, you wouldn't believe how many requests we get for body cams and how much they have helped our officers. Everybody was scared of them at first.
They protect everybody.
Yes, they do. But your cars, your equipment, fire equipment, the jail problems at the jail, the sheriff will touch on that. But that's our presentation, and as you see, Michigan City and LaPorte County get well, LaPorte County obviously gets the most, but they have a lot more areas of coverage too, with EMS and the jail and the courts. And any questions on that? So before they get up and speak, we do have a resolution. I don't know if you have, but Doug made me promise to be short, so.
IU plays tonight at 8,
Yeah.
so.
So is Purdue.
Who?
Purdue.
There you go.
Boiler up. Well, I have copies of the resolution.
Yeah,
USA.
I think they all have them.
Okay.
All right. You got Sean White.
Thank you, sir.
Run his last runs, man.
Yeah, Paul did a very good job of going over the whole broad scheme of things, but maybe a couple little points to point out also is that I know some of the pushback we've heard about from different things is that people on Social Security or low income, elderly, we want to make sure that you know that this does not affect them. This isn't an income tax. It comes out of paychecks. It does not come out of Social Security. So those people are protected by this. Also that if, I know Paul hit on, you know, that the entire state has a lit in place already. All 92 counties have a lit, a local income tax. 71 of those do have a public safety lit in effect. And we are out of the 92 counties, and I'll get a little bit more specific. You'll see on there, you can see it's a little hard to see, but we're 6th lowest in the entire state of Indiana as far as what our income tax we're charging people. A couple of the other things that we've heard as we've presented this to the council and to the public is that, well, why don't we go somewhere else? Why don't we go down the state? There's an abundance of money in the state right now. Why aren't we going down there? Well, we've had discussions, and even Representative Pressel spoke at the presentation to the county council. And basically, I mean, to make it short, the state is not going to give LaPorte County money for this. In particular, they're not going to give us money for this because 71 other counties implemented a public safety lit when they had the opportunity. That was given to the counties back in 2003. And around 2009, when these property tax caps kicked in and all of the money was funneling back to the property owners, a lot of those, especially our surrounding counties, went ahead and kicked in these public safety lits. They took advantage of what the state gave them. We did not, and even Jim Pressel said that, you know, it's going to be hard pressed and almost embarrassing for him to go down there and say to his colleagues, come on, give us the money in LaPorte County when we didn't use the tools that we had in place to start with the other ones. And that's the drawback. And Paul hit on that, you know, the officers that he's losing. Michigan City is down by 15 officers right now. And it's kind of a war zone out there, and they're having to deal with that. They're losing officers. And where they're losing officers too, if it's not to the private sector, they're losing them to these counties that implemented this lit 10 years ago. And they're much better suited to, you know, pay their officers. On the fire end of it, you heard Paul talk about the EMS. I mean, those guys are strapped. We run every call with them. And they are, I haven't talked in the last week or so because it changes all the time with Andrew McGuire, the director of EMS. He's been involved with these discussions. They are down similar numbers to what the police departments are. As a matter of fact, one paramedic position that they've had open, notwithstanding the EMTs, they've had out there for 4 months and they cannot even get anybody to take that job. But they're going to the other ones around us. They're leaving for that, and we're seeing that too. So, I mean, it's on the fire end of it, it helps us. I can echo, you know, luckily, I shouldn't even say this out loud, right now, we have not lost firefighters in about the last 2 to 3 years. About 2 to 3 years ago, we were in the exact same boat as our city police department. We were losing 6 to 7 guys a year, and that's what we don't want to get back into. And we've heard rumblings in our department of wanting to go other places. On the other end, and again, you know, Westville with the fire here, will be able to use for their department for equipment. That's huge with what we've talked to other volunteer departments. As county council, we work well with them. They have been very generous here in the last couple of months, and Westville will see that with a $10,000 from the county council to each one of the 16 volunteer fire departments that will, I think, be coming out within, I think they said something about next month or something. The point that I'm getting there too is that was great. They did that with the ARP funds, and it's great that they did that. They did that for this year and next year. That's what their council motion was. But this whole thing is what we're looking for is sustainability here too. This will put a revenue source in place that will sustain the emergency services for the distant future. And that, going back to that donation, I shouldn't say donation, but that ARP monies that were distributed to the volunteer departments, this is something else at the county level that could continue to fund that for years to come, whether it's $10,000 or the county council decides to up that year. I know there was a lot of discussion, we were there for those meetings, there was a lot of discussion by the county council members that they would like to continue this beyond the 2-year mark that they've approved already. So this is another tool that is in their toolbox that they can go ahead and continue to do that.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Is the proper Boilermaker boiler out?
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming back.
And Mr. Albert, as an Indiana University fan, we thought of you. There are pictures in here. This presentation.
Do you have 5 championship banners? You draw those in there too?
Yeah. So thank you for having us in tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. And I want to tell you from my perspective as a sheriff how important this is. This particular tax is going to help us stop the bleed of losing good qualified people that we've spent a tremendous amount of money and invested a lot of time in, losing them to other agencies. They're taking our training, our experience, and they're going elsewhere where they're walking out the door and they're getting between a $5,000 to $7,000 to $15,000 a year raise, and we just simply can't compete. We don't want to get rich in this profession because if you get rich, you get investigated. But we do have to stop that bleed. You know, LaPorte County obviously is the 2nd largest county in the state of Indiana geographically, 14th largest population-wise. And many are surprised when we tell them that we only have 6 patrol officers out at one time. Not because we want to and we think that's adequate, but that's all that we have. And now we're 4 short at the sheriff's office. We opened up applications several weeks ago. As of this morning, we have 6 applicants that have applied. And it doesn't appear that many of them are very qualified. We don't know what the future holds with them, but we're glad that we at least got 6. So at any rate, with our numbers, we have done staffing surveys and studies. The Department of Justice, National Sheriff's Association, the International Chiefs of Police say that we should be around 2.6 officers per 1,000 that we serve. And when you look at the population that we serve, and we've actually discounted towns like Westville who have a department, although we do cover for them, you know, when they don't have anyone to work a particular weekend or at midnight, we should be in the high 80s. We're at 67 certified officers, which includes everyone from the sheriff to our newest hired patrol officer. So we're well under where we should be. But this tax is going to help us to recruit, and it certainly is going to help us to retain as well. To be honest with you, the cost of doing business has gone up. You know that as consumers. Imagine feeding 500,000 meals a year, and that's what my responsibility is with our inmate population. The cost of bread and milk and eggs has gone through the ceiling, as it has for you. but it's even magnified even more with us. Our medical expenses have gone through the ceiling. We spend over $1 million a year on medical expenses for our inmate population. We have to provide medical care to. And it's difficult for us to maintain with the budget that we have. And one of the comments I get from time to time from people is, boy, we see you at the council meeting every month and you always got your hand out. Why can't you live within your budget? I wish we could, but we can't forecast that we're going to get a violent offender that comes into our jail that has stage 4 terminal cancer the day that he walks through the door. And now we're responsible for his chemotherapy and his radiation, his cancer treatments, not to mention a whole host of other issues that our inmates have. We are the 3rd largest medical provider in LaPorte County behind the 2 hospitals, Franciscan and LaPorte Hospital, because of our inmate population, and we're the largest healthcare, mental health provider in LaPorte County. Those costs are absolutely exorbitant. The cost of gasoline has gone up for us, and it's difficult to put gas in our fleet. The cost of parts, the cost of automobiles has gone through the ceiling. The cost of tires is absolutely unbelievable for our fleet to keep our cars on the road. So I come to you tonight to ask for your support and your consideration in this very important tax. And the chiefs alluded to earlier when we were in Kingsford Heights last night, one of the council members astutely said, you know, we provide services to a lot of people that just can't afford it. And when she learned that Social Security income, if that's a person's sole income, is non-taxable, that really changed things. And when she saw the breakdown of exactly what it's going to cost for a person that has an annual income of $20,000 or $30,000 a year, she agreed it's just a very small price to pay for emergency services. And when you pick up the phone and you call 911, you're trusting that someone's going to answer on the first ring. You're trusting that that person is going to get the accurate message to police, fire, or EMS, and we're going to get there and we're going to know what to do and have the equipment to be able to serve you once we arrive at your home. And so again, we're asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. We have Resolution 2022-3. It's a resolution supporting the LaPorte County Common Council establishing a public safety local income tax. I will make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2022-3.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Bushinsky to adopt Resolution 2022-3. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Bushinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0. Okay, we got anything else under finance? Miscellaneous activity, do you have an activity report by any chance?
I do not know.
Okay. Waste management, we were contacted by Waste Management for pricing for the garbage pickup. They offered a 2-year extension with from May 1st of 2022 to April 30th of next year, $14.25 per unit, and for a month. And from May 1st of 2023 to April 30th, 2024, raising it to $15.25. We have bid this out before. Usually it's only Waste Management and Republic, and the differences between Waste Management and Republic is quite a bit different. Waste Management owns their own, I would imagine it's because they own their own landfills and such. So I think it would be beneficial for us to agree to this extension for the next 2 years. We know what the prices are going to be, and they're pretty stable compared to what they have been. So I'll make a motion, and Doug, I think you reviewed this, right?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we extend the garbage pickup, trash pickup with Waste Management for the next 2 years.
Second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Mr. Bushinsky to extend the Waste Management contract for 2 years. Any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Mashinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes. Passes 3-0. The Tri-Kappa, hello? Hello, oh, what did you, I didn't see you sneak in.
I snuck in. I didn't bring jam with me this time. So
Well, that's why I didn't notice you.
there you go. Just want to thank you for your support in the past and hopeful that you will support us again this year, asking permission to use the park on May 5th, which is a Thursday, for our flower sale, and then again on October 1st for Pumpkin Fest. And really it will be September 30th because people will start setting up then Friday night. But we're doing the same thing we did last year, just one day for Pumpkin Fest. Seemed to be pretty successful with not as much work on our part, and I think we're going with it.
I think we approved the flower thing last month,
I
didn't we?
thought we did.
I thought we did.
I thought you just did the park. Kathy Long came down.
Oh, that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
music fest or
Yeah.
something.
Art in the
Okay.
park, flowers, you know, it's all good, right?
For the dates right here, for the song. She wasn't sure of that.
Yeah, that's what she was.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we allow Tri-Kappa to use the park, and I think it's the pavilion for the flowers, a lot of, isn't it?
Yes, mostly that area.
On May 5th, and Prairie Meadow also for the Pumpkin Fest on September 30th. Let's make it through the 2nd, then that way they have cleanup on Sunday too, because that they'll probably do. And use of the electric and everything as they had in the past, no rent, no fees anymore. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made by Albert, second by Mrs. Pothorsky to allow Tri-Kappa to use the park on May 5th and September 30th to October 2nd for the Pumpkin Fest. Any discussion? Mrs. Pothorsky?
Yes.
Mr. Mashinsky?
Yes.
Albert votes yes, passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming out. Tell Dan I said hi. Any citizens' comments? Gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. It needs to be done. The legislature has caused a lot of these problems, and they don't seem to want to fix it. So you guys rolled up your sleeves, so we appreciate that. So I will make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made by Albert, seconded by Pothorsky to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The meeting adjourns at 7:33. Go Big Red.